Hello people, Lek here. Today I want to talk about the WZ-113G FT, also known as the Tier 10 Chinese Tank Destroyer. A truly fantastic tank. Now, I've actually had some replays of this tank before on our channel, but I never actually have done a full review, and it is worth reviewing. This is such a great tank. Now this tank has a very interesting difference between it and all of its other Tier 10 compatriots, and that is when you compare it to its Tier 9 tank. So one of the things I always complain about with this game is I feel like some Tier 9s are not well balanced in the game, and especially the mediums. I find that they can be really weak compared to Tier 10s, but the class I feel that Wargaming has done the best job balancing are the TDs. I always think that the Tier 9 TDs are actually really great. And the way they normally do it is they give a Tier 9 usually some advantages over the 10. If you look at the Yag Tiger, for example, it has better DPM than the Yaguru. It has better gun handling. It's a more mobile tank. 704 has higher DPM than 268 and has, in my opinion, a little bit better armor than 268. The Foch has, Tier 9 Foch has a little bit better DPM. That's about it, because it's just, the Tier 10's a little bit broken, so there's not much of a difference. The 122.54 has much higher DPM than the 263. It's also a little bit more mobile, not in top speed, but in traverse. So there's always some advantage the 9 has over the 10. But when you look at the Chinese tanks, you don't see any advantages. And I noticed this when I first ran this line, that the Tier 10 is literally better than the Tier 9 in basically every single way. Better gun handling, better mobility, better DPM. It's just a much better tank. Except for two things. The number one is the Tier 8. The Tier 9 never, can get to play against Tier 8s, which is a big advantage. That helps. And the other one is actually not in the armor, but in this gun mantlet. This is the Tier 9, the 111. You can see it has a gigantic gun mantlet. It blocks a ton of shots. It's really troll. You can face hug people with it. It's so good. Otherwise, the Tier 10 is better in every way. And looking at the armor on the Tier 10, it is fantastic. See, the hatch is smaller. The front armor is huge. You use a little bit of gun depression, you get it to about 350 millimeters. It bounces a ton of shots. Lower plate is weak. Sides and the rear are non-existent. But if you face front, use hills to angle the armor up, keep the lower plate hidden, this tank will get a ton of bounces. It is really strong in the front. Looking at the tank itself in terms of the gun, like I said, DPM is around 3,000. It's really great. Penetration is excellent, 290, 375, HE is 90 without calibrating. At a good rate of fire, dispersion is really good for a gun of this size, the 152 millimeter. Mobility is surprisingly good. It goes 38, power to weight is 15, traverse 27. It moves. It actually looks like a big oaf, but it actually moves really well, and it's a lot of fun to play. So the replay I've got today is kind of a fun replay. It's fun because of the number of kills I get. And yes, I'll spoil it ahead of time. It is a 7-kill match. I've got several masteries of this tank before. Partly is it's a great tank. The other reason is because it's just not very popular. I don't know why more people don't go up this line. In fact, when we did the nerfed survey recently, I answered the question, what was my favorite line to grind? And I said it was this one. I absolutely loved this line. Every single tank from Tier 6 to Tier 10, they're all really good. They're all fun. Great guns. Just a great line. It's been buffed so many times that it's actually really, really strong. So I'm going down the med side here because I just like going this side better. I can tell already they're all pushing town. So I'm basically getting into farming mode. And this is where I love having a gun like this with a lot of pen that's pretty accurate. Just start hammering people from a distance. It can hit distance shots without a problem. And from this distance, this tank is really hard to pen from the front. I mean, it's just really hard to do it, especially if you're constantly moving. So one of the Sheridans has already gotten behind us, so that's the biggest problem that I've got here, because I have no idea where he is. He's a light tank, so I need to get rid of him as soon as possible. And he's luckily been spotted because he's probably just trying to shoot missiles without actually trying to help his team, which is the key. You have to figure out if a guy's in a Sheridan, you have to figure out if he's a good Sheridan or if he's an idiot. Naturally, he hits me right in the face with a heat round, but that's all right. I can take it. This tank does have some extra consumables. I actually don't use any of them because I find that the consumable that reduces your gun dispersion is really not all that useful. I mean, you get to use it for one shot, then you don't use it again for 75 seconds. I'd rather have adrenaline personally. So Sheridan's cleared by me, and I can focus on this VK-45, which has great armor, but you see when I put it on heat, it just goes right to the front. Zero red. At this point, I was using calibrated shells here, so the heat pen is about 410. So the front of that VK, which actually is really strong, is a piece of cake to that. I've switched recently to using the rammer on this. I've not noticed much of a difference. The pen is so high, so you might as well get a little bit extra DPM, but you could really go either way. When you calibrate, you'll basically penetrate every single shot, which is nice. So I'm just trying to get this VK out of the way. He's in a terrible spot. He's not moving. Simple HE splash. C'est la vie. And now we're just kind of pushing into town to kind of pincer these guys off. They're pushed really hard on the right, but they can't kill our VK, which is really hilarious. Not a great team. If you're going to get 7 kills, this is what you want. Now, I will say, at this point, I was not going for 7 kills. I was just trying to win the match. But towards the end, I realized, well, why not? At this point, still, again, we're just trying to get these guys cut off so we can kill them. This was sort of a guess shot that just went in, which was really good. Now it's getting a little bit easier. 5-on-3. A lot of no camo idiots. You know, I mean, again, the heat easily goes through just about any part of the I-7. Now I realize I got 5 kills. There's 2 left. I'm definitely going for the 7 kills here. This guy is kind of messing around, so I sort of cut him off, stealing the kill on the 183. Just got it reloaded. I took a huge shot. Driver is dead. Half my hit points are gone. I'm basically begging the other team to give me the 7th kill. Of course, they will not, but I have to go steal it. And I think the IS-7 on the other team is calling me a kill thief, which I am, but it really wasn't a lot of kill stealing. It just happened to land in those 5 kills. This is definitely a kill steal. I'm just biding my time here, waiting for a clean shot at the lower plate so I can get the 7th kill. Kind of a cheesy 7 kill, not really exciting, but it's fun. Tier 10, you get 7 is always nice. Absolutely love this tank. I recommend everybody go up this line. This tank is so strong. Go try it. This whole line is really great. Hope you enjoyed this review, and everybody, once again, please subscribe to the channel.